where do you want to go? What's our strategy? How can we improve stuff? It's marketing, it's personnel. It's like there's so many things to think about, and that's what I like about playing a band. You're gonna manage your band. You're gonna manage logistics, your shows, your albums, and everything. And in the end, it's about getting that stuff out.
Ray, how's it going? Welcome to the Question the Answers podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking, Andy. How are you doing? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, man. I mean, all things considered, it's been a hell of a year, and everyone's just trying to get through this last 7 months of it, because shoot, time doesn't really matter anymore. But
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, otherwise I'm doing fine. I know that it's like, 9 p.m. over there, and it's noon over here. So
yes.
You've got a beverage in hand, and I've got my coffee. So we're cheers.
Cheers, buddy. We'll drink to that.
Mm-hmm. But no, I'm excited to have you on the podcast, man. I mean, it was really cool to be introduced to you a few months back when you told me about Epic Merch Store, and I had seen your name going out there in social media. I had seen you putting posts on message boards and the different group affiliated within like the punk scene. And I thought it was really great that you reached out about Tsunami Bomb and Sell the Heart Records. And it got me thinking, it's like, man, this is a really great model that you've got going on. And not to mention, you're also a musician yourself. So you play in the band Drunktank, and you're based out of the Netherlands. And I thought it'd be really cool to have a conversation with you about, Epic Merch Store, Drunktank, the punk scene going on in Netherlands and everything. So give me an idea of what Epic Merch Store is all about. Like, tell me about like when it started and what your model is and what you do for bands.
Yeah, sure, man. Well, first, thanks for having me on the show. That's perfect. I really like that. Epic Merch Store, upcoming January, we celebrate our 2 years existence. Two friends of mine started the concept like almost 2 years ago. And the basic thing is, when they came up with it, is like, we want to offer smaller bands a good line of merch online. Because everybody in band knows that like doing bulk orders, screen prints, having stock, especially trying to do multiple colors or full colors is really expensive. Getting it sold, getting your money back, it always takes a lot of time. Shipping your stuff, things get lost, it's expensive. So they came up with this idea, like, what can we do to have an on-demand concept and print on locations? So instead of shipping pre-produced stuff from the Netherlands to the USA, can we also produce in the USA? Can we produce in Canada? Can we produce in Europe, Japan, Australia, South America? So they came up with this idea, like, okay, are there on-demand printers in the world that can help us with this concept? And they found a couple. They chose the best one, in our opinion. And I think that's working real fine. At first, we started with small bands. Of course, you have to sell your concept. So they've been trying to do that. And when they asked me, of like, do you want to join with Drunktank? Because I knew these guys for a long time. At first, I was like, okay, I got to think about this and see what the pricing is and stuff. And then we joined. And at that moment, like, it hit me in the head. If this concept will work, you need to have a lot of bands in here. Because now a customer can go to our store and he can buy from Tsunami Bomb, from Cooley, from Drunktank, Useless ID, and like 175 bands, instead of going to all these bands on their own, paying a lot of shipping. So I think that works a lot. That works really well. And you don't have to like send packages all across the world. So in this environment thinking today, like, don't waste any gas, don't waste any time. The concept is working now. let's say so I joined them around a year ago, a little bit more, and I got in some bands. And they were like, Ray, you've been in the punk rock scene for a long time. Do you want to stay with us and help us out more? And I was like, yes, of course. I really like this. I like talking to guys. I like sell our concepts, helping them out. Well, it's more that we help out the bands. We don't make a lot of money on this. Like, that 80% of profits goes to the band. So in order for us to make money, we need a shitload of bands to make some money on it, and that's good for customers. It's good for bands. So and that's paying off because in January we had our 50th band that was Chaser, and we're now up to 175 bands. And if we had more time, we could be on 300 already. There's so many bands that want to join. So the concept is really working, and that's straight up awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's such a like a sorry, I'm stumbling my words here, but it seems like it's such an obviously good idea for bands and really anyone who has any kind of merchandise, particularly clothing like shirts and hats and beanies. And I know that you guys are somewhat limited in the scope of the types of products that you can offer. It's mostly wearables like,
Yep.
top, like, your hat, you have sweaters and hoodies and,
Yes.
I know you have ball caps. But, basically if you're in a band and if you want to, like you said, have multiple variations in multiple colors and multiple designs, and you don't want to have a lot of overhead and you don't want to have to worry about spending all that much up front, this just seems like such an obvious option. And
Yeah.
the print on demand, I know, has kind of moved a long way in making it look better, because I know that for a while there, the print on demand didn't always look very good. Like the printing, I guess, technique and the machines that they had weren't as good at producing like a quality,
Yeah.
and like from what I remember, I've had a few print on demand shirts over the years, and I remember a few back years ago, the ink just tends to come off quicker and it starts to fade a lot quicker. But I mean, I'm looking at, a lot of the shirt designs that you have, and I've seen some of the examples that you have that you can produce, and it looks really good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm actually very impressed. And so when you brought it to Tsunami Bomb and Sell the Heart Records, I think it's a great idea for any band, but especially for, like you said, just for small bands who don't have like a big label backing them and they can't come up with, thousands of dollars up front. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you've already mentioned a few bands, but 175 bands to choose from. Who are some of like the more, I guess, established bands that have really come on board and done well with this?
A pulley, useless ID, Belvedere, the Rumjacks recently joined. Randy, the Swedish band, didn't have merch online for a long time. So these guys are selling a lot of merch. That's really awesome. Their fans are really stoked about it. So that's really cool. Man, we have tons of great bands. It's coming more and more now. Also ska bands like the Toasters, the Pie Tasters, the Inevitables with guys from Less Than Jake, Big Bean the Kids Table, Interrupters, Real Big Fish. So I was talking to Mark from Guttermouth yesterday. So there's also big interest from bigger bands, especially because when I want to send a cap from Holland to the States, it costs 23 euros. That's around $25, $26. With our concept, it's like we offer a flat rate concept. I think our shipping is around $7 or $8 in the USA. So we don't have to send that cap from Europe to the States. It's produced in the States, and that's why it's only $8. So for a lot of bands, this can work out a lot. And that's why it's also interesting for bigger bands.
Right. Yeah, because
and that's why I was like, let me reach bands and let's see if they want to do this. And I was like, and of course I know I've been around in the punk rock scene for 18 years, maybe 20 years already. And so it's good, a lot of bands. And when the guys from Mute joined in, when Chaser joined in and Belvedere did the standoff, of course, people were like, hey, what's going on? What's that epic merch? What's going on there? And then, of course, bigger bands also want to join. That also helps out a lot. When you have a couple of big names backing you up, that works out a lot.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I think it's a really brilliant, simple model that really I think any band should just do this if they can. And I know that we've had conversations about the size of the band, because for you guys to be able to put together a store for a band, as much as you would like to be able to do it for just every band, it doesn't necessarily make sense for a band that's maybe just starting out and only has 10 or 20 people that really follow them. And it really, it's just a matter of making sure that you guys are getting your costs covered as well.
Yeah.
So that, because I mean, you guys are putting up a certain amount of investment, not only with your time, your energy, the marketing, making these relationships with these printers and these shippers and everything like that. But I mean, gosh, to be in a band in say the United States and know that your fan base in Japan, South America, Europe, Canada, Mexico, that they can all get the same merch and not have to worry about paying the crazy import fees or the tariffs or anything like that. And just to mention the regular shipping fees, that I think that's a huge win. I'm curious, do you guys think that at some point you might try to bring physical music into the realm? I mean, because right now I know obviously the model of this is to do print on demand wearable merchandise, but
it's not possible at this point, because the merch gets shipped from the factories directly to the customers. So we don't do warehousing. So if I wanted to do records for Tsunami Bomb, I would have to have them at home, or I need to store them at the factories we work with. We can do that for one band or a couple of bands, but when you are on 175 bands now, and by this time next year maybe at 300 bands or who knows how much, it's impossible to do, because we have to pay a lot of fees for storage at all those factories, and not even all the factories are doing the storage. So that's where you have a problem right away, and that's when you're going to get killed on shipping, because then they have to do 2 shipments. And
right, yeah, well, and that makes sense. I mean, yeah, because when a label like Sell the Heart Records puts out a record that's for a band in the United States, but they might have a little bit of a fan base in, say, the UK or Europe, or Mexico or even Canada. The shipping fees they add up. And, when somebody's coming to my web store and they're wanting to buy one record and that's it, and then they're paying double the cost just to get it shipped out. It would be nice to be able to say I sent 20 copies to Canada, and I sent 20 copies to Mexico, and I sent 20 copies to Europe. And, and I mean, obviously what you guys are doing works for you. And to your point, the warehousing thing does seem like that would be the main pain point to be able to get over. But man, I mean, with the fact that you guys have seen so much growth in such a short amount of time, that tells me that you guys are doing something right. So, I mean, congratulations. And Tsunami Bomb is certainly really stoked to be a part of it, because, we know that from a shipping standpoint, we have all these fans in say, Europe and the UK and Mexico and Canada. And, it is such a pain in the butt trying to get stuff shipped to them. So, it's been a huge win for us. So we really appreciate it.
I'm really stoked to have you, man. Because I remember when the Kung Fu Europe headquarters was in the town next to Den Haag, and I did a project for school next to them in another record label. That's when I started to know these guys a little bit, or the girls, the woman Didi actually, and that was really cool. So then I picked up on Audio Karate, picked up on Tsunami Bomb. Cooper from our hometown with some Kung Fu records as well. So that was cool. And I was and then I was looking you up, and I see hey, these guys are playing again, what? let me look out for if I can find some of these guys. And that's a great thing. Like I learned to know so many people right now. My network was big, but it's exploding now because you just and here we are on the podcast. So
Right.
that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you play in a band called Drunktank.
You mentioned a good thing. No, but you mentioned a real good thing about records and warehousing. This is a bridge to Drunktank as well. What we did with our last record, we could have gone for bigger labels, but we didn't. I was like, okay, when we take a bigger label now, we will be one of the smaller bands, and we're probably not gonna get a lot of attention. So I chose a whole other strategy, and I was like, I want to work with as many possible small labels all over the world. When we released the records, we were involved with 12 or 15 record labels, and we ended up with 20 or more. So we had a record label that's in Finland. And so we shipped a box like 20, 25 records to Finland. They sold them, and we did a new shipment, also with a re-release from our first record. And they sold them. They invited us to play a show there. Then you come and play at a festival, and everybody is singing along because these guys have been promoting you there, and they bought your record, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. Same happened in UK, Germany, in USA, in Canada. We have a shitload of fans in Canada now because Punk and His Early record was pushing our album there. And same for Japan. And so that strategy of like sending a box there, of course, we didn't make a lot of money on the records they sold, but it helped us increase a lot, our fan base a lot. And so that was really awesome. And now we know, like, okay, we're recording our third album. Much more people know us now. And that was worth the investment.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like anymore. I mean, as much as musicians and bands, you know, they're always trying to capitalize on, you know, growing their fan base and like making more money for their art. Which, I mean, you know, musicians historically are just, you know, disastrously underpaid for their art.
Yeah.
And, you know, unless you become like the top tier bands in the world, you typically don't really see a return on your investment. And even if you do, it's not enough to really make a living off of it, you know. So
that's true.
You know, one of the things that I've mentioned a few times here before is, I feel like unfortunately one of the things that musicians have to kind of think about is redefining what success looks like to them, and understanding that, you know, your art is important, your art is valid, but it may not translate to dollars, you know. And to what you're talking about, I think that that's a really great strategy, in that you've now established, even to a small degree, a fan base in several countries because you're working with these individual entities within those countries. Like,
yes.
You're not just doing it all by yourself. Like, you're working with a label in Finland, you're working with a label in Canada, you're working with a label in the UK, and you know, you're kind of bringing them in and letting them take some of that burden off of you, you know, to do that work that I think a lot of bands don't really think to do. Like, you know, I hate to say this, but a lot of bands, a lot of musicians are horrible at managing themselves. Like, they're bad at it, you know, like I mean, they're good at their art, which is great, and that's the foundation of what they want to do. But because it is a business, you have to have that mindset. You have to push and like network and talk to people and get your stuff in front of people using every mechanism that you have, and that includes social media, Spotify, streaming, you know, YouTube, like everything like that. And, you know, that's great that Drunktank has been able to capitalize on that. You know, so, and tell me a little bit about Drunktank. So Drunktank is basically like a kind of a melodic skate punk band, right?
I think nowadays more a skate punk metal band.
Okay, yeah. I was listening to it, yeah, and it definitely, I hear that Iron Maiden influence for sure.
No, that's great, yeah. A lot of guys told you're like Iron Maiden punk. Yeah. And we're like, well, that's the biggest compliment we can get. Mm-hmm. If people hear that and they say that, like, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
We started in 2003, so we've been around for quite a while. We only released 2 records.
Okay.
At first, we were still in high school. And we pumped out some EPs and we recorded a record. Then we had another 10 band member changes, and then now last year our second album came out, and that's when things really started to come. You have to pump again. The fun thing was when I was reaching out to labels, most of the guys knew us. I was like, hey, that's great. It's cool when you get in contact with a guy in Canada. You say, hey man, I'm playing the band Drunktank. We're recording a new album, and I don't know if you've heard about us. And in 5 seconds, you get a picture back of the guy with your album. First album. And you're like, oh, that's awesome. When that happened a couple of times, and I was like, oh, so probably we did something well in all these years, but we actually didn't know about it because we were like, yeah, spending time in the rehearsal room, doing some shows in Holland and around that, not so really active on social media. And now, with the new album, when a new album came out, I was like, I want to be involved with a lot of labels. We need promotion, we need videos, we need animated videos, we need way better album. The first album cover was cool, and now we need an even better album cover. And when we did that, and really only releasing that album cover got us so much attention. People were like, wow, that shit is amazing. And other people said, even if you didn't know the band, you saw that artwork coming by 5 times all over the internet. You were like, that artwork is amazing. I got to listen to this record. And you're like, okay, well, that's $2,000 well spent. that's the thing. So we keep doing that, and that's where you say the whole marketing, the investment, the networking. I was like, okay, I want to get a lot of interviews, a lot of reviews. We got to keep posting that, keep getting people involved, posting in the Facebook groups, and see making deals with other bands. Like, okay, you know what? I like your band, you like our band, we have the same fans. All we gotta do is make sure these fans from you know about my band, and my fans know about your band. So let's invite our friends over on Facebook, like each other's bands, way to get more, to reach more people. That cost me a lot of hours though. It was cool. And it paid off, because now with Epic Merch Store, when I reached out to a lot of bands, I think 80, maybe 90% of the bands already know Drunktank. So when they see my band name like Ray Drunktank Epic Merch Store, they're like, hey man, I'm Ray from Epic Merch. But yeah, and you're from Drunktank. And I know Drunk. And that's one step ahead of getting to know someone and to tell them about your concept for Epic Merch Store, and if they want to join. So all those things are they're falling together, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, I know that historically I've typically taken on that role in a lot of the bands that I've been in. I mean, with Tsunami Bomb, it's a little bit different because we have, a label that we're working with, and, we have people that help us out with booking, and, we were able to hire a PR person. But with, all the other bands that I've ever been in that were, much smaller, in terms of our fan base and everything, I was typically the one kind of taking on that role of leading the charge and networking and talking to people and trying to do what you mentioned, where, you reach out to bands that you think are of a similar style or maybe have a similar fan base, and you start to have these conversations. And I mean, those conversations are typically very fruitful, in that you'll usually end up with some sort of a return that's positive for your band, even if all it means is that you now have a band in a different area that knows who you are, is listening to your music, and if anything, maybe they're just spreading the word about you. Something small like that can make a big difference. But
True.
yeah, I've found that, like I said earlier, just so many bands and musicians are just not great at doing that. And
Yes.
I understand, man, when you're making music and you're making art, you don't want to think about all that stuff, you just want to play music and you want to make your art, but it really does matter. It makes a huge difference if you're wanting to turn this into something that's going to be able to sustain itself. You have to do it. I mean, I don't think it's, I think it's hardly never worked, you know, for anyone to just sit on their hands and let their music speak for itself. I mean, sometimes it does, very rarely.
Yeah,
Like
very
man,
rarely.
I
Yeah.
can't think of, a band, you know, that just all of a sudden got, you know, a huge fan base just for putting their music online. Like oh, all of a sudden, boom, you know. But
No, maybe when you got that one hit and radio picks up on it, but mostly, like you said, it's a business, and when you want to build a business, it's hard work, it's hard labor. You get up
right,
early, you got to get your product out. For to me, it's the same with music. Um, let's say I work in finance as a business controller, and I'm also looking for opportunities to get the business to where do you want to go? What's your strategy? How can we improve stuff? It's marketing, it's personnel. It's like there's so many things to think about, and that's what I like about playing in a band. You gotta manage your band. You gotta manage logistics, your shows, your albums, and everything. And in the end, it's about getting that stuff out and getting it heard. Uh, Although our guitar player is like, he said, I don't matter about it a lot. I just want to make music. I said, yeah, okay. He said, you want to record a new record? Yeah. Okay, well, my investment as a drummer is a little bit higher to record a new album. So, and I have another thing. I want to reach a lot of people with it. So it's cool. You write the songs and I'll get the word out. So
yeah,
that way we all we all do our part. So, but
right,
to me, it's running a business, um, and when you play a show, you want to see a lot of people there having a great time. And if they don't know your band, they won't come.
right,
So you still need to get your fucking shit out.
yeah,
And it's like what I say, it's about with your band, it's with the Epic Merch Store. What I gotta do is get people involved, get bands involved, get everybody involved and to like your product and to say they're like, okay, I can relate to this product. I can relate to what this band is doing, the message they're spreading, or I can relate to what this merch store is doing because they're helping bands. They have a great concept. They have a great thought. Maybe they think they're great guys, or maybe not. That's another point. But in the end, that's to me that's running a business. And also, yeah, music is art. But if you want to run your art well, to me, it's running a business.
right,
I really like to hire marketeers as well. So okay, we got a concept for Drunktank with where we're like the infamous four, and we're like anti superheroes, but we're fighting demons in our scene. Like this, our first album was the Infamous Four. Then we got up with Return of the Infamous Four, and we fight guys like Major Mainstream, Hank Halftime, Pete Party Pooper, Sergeant Sober. No, these are the guys. Pete Party Pooper. That's the guy when you're having a party and he's come nagging at you like, this party sucks and this and that sucks, or this Sergeant Sober comes up, tells you not to drink and don't have a good time. We're like, we have a thing. We're not so keen on acoustic and halftime bands, so that's how we came up with Hank Halftime and Major Mainstream, just the regular mainstream. So that's why we like, okay, we got a concept here, and we got a cool concept. You got to market the concept, so you got to you got to put that back in your artwork. You got to put it back on banners. You got to put it back on fucking beer coasters, shirts, and animated videos. So that's what we've been doing. And now with our first new album coming up, where we're writing that, hope to record it next year. Like, okay, so what are we gonna do? We need new storylines. We need new villains. So we're like, I got like 40 new villains in my phone. Whenever I'm somewhere and I think like, this guy, he's like, I don't know, a Facebook flaps or the keyboard warrior. I'm like, okay, put this in my phone. This could be a next villain. So that's really fun. But in the end, now we're thinking about, okay, I did everything I could to get the maximum amount of Return of the Infamous 4, and now it's time to get a real pro in that could say like, okay, you got a cool concept, and I can do some brand marketing and stuff like that, or even just to reach more people. I think we got two things like a new record, you can reach more people, and you got a concept, and we can reach a lot of people with that as well. We're thinking about doing a comic book because it's comic. In the end, it's comic thing, so we can do something with that. our animated videos. So like the second one was based on Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, where we were fighting as the Infamous Four against those villains. So we got a lot of things. Maybe we have a lot of things that other bands don't in this concept. But like I said, maybe now it's time to get a pro in to really get this going.
Right.
So I like the DIY stuff, really like that. But in the end, now it's time for more investment. I just gotta pay up and get this going. But like what you said, return on investment, return. My return is not to make money.
Yeah,
no,
like
not happen.
Yeah, I mean, I take a pretty similar approach with the record label, where at the end of the day, all I want is Sell the Heart Records to be a self-fulfilling machine, where if I put out one record by one band, that I sell enough of those records so that I can then make the next record for the next band. And then, anything that's made on top of that with any one of those records just goes to the band, so that at the end of the day, I can help them and I can just continue the label and not have to worry about, dealing with, a ton of extra overhead and all that other headache that comes with, like, I don't really want to turn Sell the Heart Records into the next Epitaph. Like, I don't really care, I want to be able to continue, but I don't want this to become my only job. It seems like it would be too much of a headache, to be perfectly honest with you. But I love music. I love being involved with the scene, and I love helping other bands out. So for me, it's more of a labor of love. But is Drunktank working on new material right now? Are you guys looking to put out a new record soon?
Yeah, well, I hope to record by the end of next year, and then I want to release in the third quarter of 2022. Because, like I said, we have new villains to come up with, new storyline to Infamous 4 fighting them. We can't do the same storyline. We're thinking about doing a comic. Comic has to be made. So there's a lot of time in that as well. It's not just like writing the album, recording it, and releasing it. So shooting a video can go very quickly, but making an animated video, like I've seen now, and this guy to make all these drawings, and the animator has to put that all together. And of course, we paid him a bit, but these guys have their jobs and their things, and we're like, we need to pay these guys, because if you don't pay anybody, there's like nothing's gonna happen. We've been down that road. So, and that's working. And we hope, like, actually, we're still gonna release a new animated video for Return of the Infamous 4 in a couple of weeks.
Cool.
Along with our new skateboard that's coming out probably in January in Canada for people of Punk Rock Records. So next year we're recording. We're doing some demos now. I think, let's say, for March we're probably gonna put out more things towards the new record already. Putting some things, more things about demoing. Maybe I'm thinking about doing a part of a first version of a song. Like, this was the first chorus we had, and we changed it to this. Like, and then people can see, like, oh, so wow, that's a big change. So it's something like that, or working towards it, or putting out some sketches of the new artwork, or maybe presenting a new villain already. So we're gonna work towards that record, and then because we know, like, okay, we hope that somewhere around March, maybe April, some shows can happen again, and we got some festival shows, and if we can put like promotion from those festivals, those shows, along with promotion already towards the new record, we can keep this promo machine going.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing. I mean, I've definitely listened to your guys' records, and I'm a huge Iron Maiden fan. So, and I definitely get like that Lagwagon kind of skate punk, melodic punk thing going from you guys. So I'm on board. I'm stoked to hear any new material you'd want to put out. And
cool.
Hopefully when shows come back together, if you guys end up touring the States, hit me up, man. I'd love to come catch you guys.
That's one of our things. We've never been a touring band, and we would like to, But our singer has two little kids, and his wife is a flight attendant. So that's we're supposed to be in Canada in September though for a week. Of course, COVID kicked in, and we couldn't do that. We had some more stuff planned. Uh, at this point, it gives a little bit of rest at home for the guys, and we're gonna make up for that after the new record is out. When we go to Canada, maybe we can go to the States. Well, I think it would be fucking awesome. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hey, it's been a great time talking with you. I usually throw out a couple of last questions for every guest I have here.
Yeah.
So the first one is, who are some bands that people may not know about that you think people should know about? Like if you could name like just a few bands that, people may have missed it on their radar.
Heathcliff from Germany. Winning streak, have their shirt on, released their new record this year. To me, that's one of the best records this year. Camp High Game from Holland. Hector Mainframe from Australia. Fucking love that band. Denied from Belgium. Colors Fade and Our Darkest Days. Chaser, The Human Project. Fuck, and my own band, Drunktank. So check them out too.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And
I heard the drummer is an asshole though.
Sounds good. Yeah, and we'll definitely like put some links for those bands so that people can check them out. And then it's kind of a fun question. I know that it's a little hard to answer, but if you had to pick 5 records that you were going to be stuck with for the rest of your life, what would they be?
They would be, I have them here because I just saw this coming.
Let's hear it.
No Fun at All, No Straight Angles. This to me was one of the life changers for punk rock. I was a little bit into punk rock, and I saw that was when you still went to record stores and you bought CD. I still buy CDs, and I looked in the booklets, and also a lot of bands had No Fun at All in there. You didn't have internet back then days. I'm like, no, what's that band? And then all of a sudden, I walk back into my favorite record store. I see in the secondhand store, secondhand thing. I see No Straight Angles and Out of Bounds. So I took those CDs. I went to the guy. I said, "Can I listen to this?" And he puts them on. And like when this record started, I was like, "Holy shit!" I took all that shit. And also, this was one. The other one to me is Mother's Milk from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Nice.
Punk as fuck to me. Those whole back in the days, they were punk and funk together. They got me. I think before that, they got me into drumming. So that's really important to me. I did a little bit of cheating here because this is a double album. It's Life Plus One with On Descendants. Always one of my all-time favorite bands. They're fucking amazing. Now we go to another style. It's a metal. It's 3 Inches of Blood. This album, Advance and Vanquish, also a life changer for Drunktank. When you ask us what are your influences, we name a couple of skate punk bands, and we say Iron Maiden, 3 Inches of Blood. So if you like metal, check these guys out. I can say I'm really stoked about it because we are huge fans from these guys, and they're coming on Epic Merch Store. This band, they don't even play anymore. And I did a lot of asking guys. Well, we have bands from Canada, so I asked the guys from Blacked Out, like, "You're from Vancouver, so do you know the guys from Finish Your Blood?" And Morgan said, "Yeah, I know them very well." So he got me in contact with him, and I'm fucking forever grateful for this, man. So because we're gonna have them on. The last one is probably something a lot of people don't see coming. This is Louis Prima.
Ooh.
Louis Prima is an old jazz Dixieland artist, swing jazz. And that's I fucking love that. I listen to that all summer. When there's barbecues out, I'm asking Louis Prima, and if the world should play Louis Prima, it would be a better place. Everybody should be happy. And especially this one, and this is also cheating because these are like 6 CDs in this collection. And these are from 1924 to 1937. So this is old school. This is old. And it's amazing. It makes me happy. It gives me a real great feeling. So we got metal, we got Dixieland, we got punk rock. Things that didn't make it, just didn't make it, was Mighty Mighty Bosstones. Devil's Night Out, really loved. That's why I also loved the title of your podcast.
Yeah.
Because they have this album, Question the Answer. So I'm like, hey, let's see. Did you come with the name for the podcast from their album?
Yeah, a little bit of the inspiration for this was from them.
Cool.
I mean, I'm a huge Mighty Mighty Bosstones fan, and I thought it was kind of a neat play on words. So
cool. No, it's like it's an old album, and like I said, Devil's Night Out is like, I know that album for a long time, and I really love that. Also, I could have picked like Iron Maiden. I could have picked Duff from Lagwagon, but I think that these five, well, they tell me the story about me as well, like who I am, what I like. So yeah, these are the things.
Yeah, no, that's a great list, and I love the variety. You know, I mean, people shit on the Red Hot Chili Peppers all the time, but I'm personally a fan. I mean, I'm not so much a fan of like the newer stuff that they've done, but I mean, gosh, everything up through like Californication, I love, man. So
yeah,
people can have their opinion.
Don't like I said, Freaky Style or Uplift Mobile Party Plan, and this like Mother's Milk, and also Bloodsucker Sex Magic and stuff, man. That's to me, that's really awesome material.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think their old school stuff is more punk than a lot of bands calling themselves punk nowadays. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, it was such a pleasure talking to you, Ray, and like, you know, good luck with everything with Epic Merch Store. If any bands are interested in like connecting with you, you know, we'll leave the contact info so that they can reach out to you about that. Of course, definitely listen to Drunktank, and you know, if you're into like skate punk, melodic punk, and like metal punk, you know, definitely check them out. And we're gonna end the show with one of your songs and videos. So, you know, until we talk again, I hope you have a great time and have a happy holiday.
Thank you, man. See you soon, buddy.
Yep.
Shoppers pushed and shoved their way through Black Friday.
Marine litter is a worldwide problem.
Are you ready, Mike?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go!